And once you've checked your answers, we can move on to the next lesson, which zooms in on some of the issues with the Articles of Confederation that led the Federalists to believe they were too weak, and a new constitution with a stronger national government was necessary. First, we will look at 5 key weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation, then Shays' Rebellion, which was an uprising that demonstrated a key weakness of the Articles. Let's start with the Articles' key weaknesses. The Articles of Confederation created a weak central government with very limited powers. The states held most of the power, and this caused serious problems. Let's go through the specific areas where the Articles were weak. First, we will look at military power, then executive power, then judicial power, then interstate commerce, and finally currency control. Okay, let's pause there for a second. You might be realizing already that there are going to be a lot of ideas and concepts you're going to need to remember. That's why I've made the 4-hour exam-ready playbook, a study and review guide that you can complete while watching the video. Grab it through the link in the description and practice what you're learning while watching, all in just 4 hours. With this guide, it's never too late to prepare for the exam. Now, let's get back to the lesson. Let's start with military power. Under the Articles of Confederation, the national government did not have the power to raise and maintain a standing army. This became a problem when rebellions or conflicts happened, because there was no central force ready to respond quickly. Instead, the government had to ask the states to send troops, which was slow and unreliable. Okay, let's move on to executive power. The Articles did not create an executive branch. There was no president or national leader who could enforce the laws passed by Congress. That meant even if Congress passed a law, there was no one to make sure people followed it. For example, the national government couldn't collect taxes unless states agreed to cooperate, and many didn't. Next is judicial power. There was no national court system under the Articles. That meant if states had conflicts with each other, or if there were legal problems across state lines, there was no official place to resolve those issues. This made the law feel inconsistent and weak across the country. Now let's look at interstate commerce. The national government didn't have the power to regulate trade between the states. Each state could set its own rules, taxes, and regulations for trading with other states. This made trade confusing and unfair, and it hurt the national economy. Finally, let's talk about currency control. Under the Articles, the national government couldn't be the only one to print money. States printed their own currencies, which led to confusion and inflation. A dollar from one state might not be accepted in another, and this made it hard to do business across state lines. Okay, let's move on to Shays' Rebellion. This event showed how dangerous the Articles' weaknesses could be. In 1786, farmers in Massachusetts, led by Daniel Shays, were angry about high taxes and losing their farms. They formed a militia and tried to take over a federal arsenal. The national government couldn't stop them because it had no army. Eventually, a private state militia put down the rebellion, but it scared many leaders. They realized the country needed a stronger central government to keep order and protect rights. Okay, that brings us to the end of Challenges of the Articles of Confederation. If you're following along with the study guide, check your answers for this section using the answer key before moving on. And when you're ready, we'll move on to topic 1.5.